very, very first thing that I want to say is I'm glad we're talking. It's long overdue. And, boy, am I sorry you've had a shitty 24 hours.
Yeah.
And with each, just brutal. Yesterday was difficult enough as it is, and I can just assure you, by no means did I expect it to be followed up by a food comp, and then never in a million years did I think that you guys were going to be nominated. So I can only imagine where your head's at, and that's why I would love to, offer anything I can clarify or any support that I can give as well. I guess we should start from the beginning. It makes the most sense.
Yeah.
I know that you've spoken to Jess, but I don't think that changes, us having a conversation or my sharing my, point of view or you expressing anything you want to express to me. So I'm considering it separate, and if it's repetitious, I apologize, because I'm sure it's going to cover the same bases for the most part. On a personal level, it was brutal and extremely difficult and nerve-wracking and gut-wrenching decision. On a strategic level, it was also quite difficult, but it was purely a strategic decision. It was nothing that was preconceived or preconcocted. By no means, when he went up, did I ever think this was going to happen. When I did my goodbye, I, of course, very remorsefully did it in a manner like it was barely even taking it seriously, because I didn't think he was going to ever see it. So, and at the last minute, I feel like there was an overall consensus of all people that were involved in, I shouldn't say all people, of a lot of people involved in the voting and the tie-breaking and the whole process, that had a bit of a change of thought on the matter. Myself obviously being one of them. And, it was 50.5 to 49.5, but it was that little gut instinct that it was something that needed to be done, and it was the correct thing to do at the time. Whether or not that proves to pan out in the way that it's envisioned or not is really a whole other story. But the way I perceived it is, he made no balance about it. He came right up to my face and said, I had a deal with Gail and Jen, a deal with Vic and Danielle, and a deal with the four of you. So that way, whatever happened last week, I would be okay. And I thought to myself, well, that's weird, because I didn't have any of that. I just had the four of you, and it was hard enough with the four of you as it was. And he never made any bones about it. And then, when you talk to some of the outside characters, they have different opinions on everyone. Some people like some people don't. I don't take it to heart. But there was a certain uneasiness with Dustin that was shared across the board. I don't know if you felt it. I don't know if... But, of course, naturally, I considered him a great, great threat to win the entire game. I thought that he also believed that he was a great, great threat to win the entire game, and felt was like he was playing as if he was a great, great threat to win the entire game. On a personal level, I had a hard week bouncing back from all the stuff that had happened. I'm sure some of it was my own perception, and I know that a lot of it was a reality, but I was feeling, a little bit on the outside of the four of you last week.
For me, Jess, and
Amber. I felt like, to a certain extent, I couldn't win. I felt like anything I said or did, it was like always the wrong thing. I felt like whoever I spoke to, like, there was a time everyone was doing stuff. There was literally, my options, it was like 9 p.m. Everyone was in serious or personal or in the middle of something. My options were go lay in my bed for no reason because I was wide awake, or sit down and talk absolute bullshit with Vic and Danielle. Now, I wasn't comfortable talking to them at all, but that was it. That was the only thing that was available to me right then. So I did it for, 15 minutes, had the lamest, most surface conversation ever. And then I felt afterwards like everyone's, what did he just struck a deal with them or this and that. It's like, no, I didn't fucking strike a deal with them. I tried not to interrupt people and sat down for 5 minutes because there was no one else here. There's not that many people left, and I'm not going to interrupt people. I felt like, every time I spoke to Zach, every time I spoke to Jen, it was like, I don't know. I felt like there was, it may not have been all the way, but obviously less faith in me than there once was. I was starting to feel like the likelihood of all 5 of us making it was always kind of, it's a dream scenario, but difficult to envision because things happen along the way. Someone else would win an HOH and put 2 of us up and 1 of us would go home. Blah, 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 blah. The way I started seeing it was that I was the low man on the totem pole of this group. I was number 5. If someone goes home before the 5, it was going to be me. And if we made it to the 5, it was going to be me. And as we all know, nobody is aiming to come in 5th or 6th or 7th. And I tried to look at the scenarios and say, how can both me and the people that I'm close to and support and love in this house have a better shot of being there when it's 3 or 4 people? And I thought that this offered more possibilities of that happening. And if I was to be proven wrong, so instead of coming in 5th or 6th, I'd come in 7th or 8th. What's the difference at that point? And if I was proven to be right, instead of maybe coming in 5th or 6th, maybe I actually, have a shot as things realign or relationships strengthen or unify or reshuffle or flip or whatever the case may be. So, to me, it was purely strategic. I felt like he was gaining strength by the minute in every aspect of the game. I felt like I was not truly a part of his, end game plans in any which way. And the other 2 as a unit are a clear and present threat. Everyone dislikes them. Everyone's threatened by them. No one wants them to win. No one wants them to be Will and Boogie and control everything that ever happens here while we roll over and die. They're clearly the strongest pairing by far. And with them in the house, they should always be the target until at least one of them, if not both of them, go. And if they are, then I'm not. And I just felt like it could be a risk worth taking. I didn't know who would win HOH. I didn't know when whoever won, what they would do with it. Clearly, I wasn't really envisioning this happening by any means. It's one of the last possible things I envisioned. I envisioned any which scenario, but this wasn't one of them. It came down really, really late in the whole thing, and I was having, I'm sure Jess would attest to this, an extremely difficult time with it on a personal level. I thought that it was horrible, it was brutal. I really felt extremely uneasy about it, and for the first time in the entire game, I thought to myself, you've played entirely personally and not as strategically as I could have, and I decided the game's playing me right now, so I need to, play the game a little bit here and see what comes of it. When Jess